Elimination Chamber is just a few weeks away, but what is the match card going to look like? Let's speculate. I'm Brandon, this is Wrestling Talk, and today I'm going to be predicting every match for the 2026 Elimination Chamber. And long story short, I only think we're getting 4 matches. Because if you look back at the past few years of the Elimination Chamber show, you either get a 5-match card or you get a 4-match card with a big angle. Last year we got the John Cena heel turn, and the year before that we got Cody and Seth on the Grayson Waller effect. Given how WWE's been booking lately, I can absolutely see there being another big angle on the show. I don't know what that would be, but when I think of all the potential matches that we could get on this show, I always come down to just 4. Mainly because they already announced that Jade Cargill versus Jordynne Grace for the WWE Women's Championship is just going to take place on an episode of SmackDown. So with that being said, let's predict what I think the entire match card is going to be, starting with the match that I think will open the show, and that is the Men's Elimination Chamber. Just like the past few years, I think you're going to have 3 people qualify from Raw and 3 from SmackDown. From SmackDown, I think we're going to get Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, and Trick Williams. Randy's already qualified, and next week on SmackDown, Cody versus Jacob Fatu versus Sami Zayn is going down for the next spot, and I think Cody's going to win that. On the following episode of SmackDown, I think it's going to be a triple threat between Damian Priest, Trick Williams, and let's say Ilya Dragunov, and I think Trick Williams is going to win that as well. For Raw, I think we're going to have Braun Breaker, LA Knight, and Logan Paul. I initially wanted to put Gunther in the Elimination Chamber to set up a potential match at WrestleMania between him and Randy Orton. The Legend Killer versus the Career Killer. It feels like we're heading in that direction, but I don't see Gunther winning this match, which means he would have to eat a pin. And I do not think WWE wants Gunther eating a pin before WrestleMania. So he's out, Logan Paul is in. And I think it makes sense. The Vision can have the same strategy they had during the Rumble, where Logan Paul and Braun Breaker are going to team up to take out the rest of the field, and at the end, supposedly, Logan Paul will let Braun Breaker pin him. So kicking off this match, I think we're going to have LA Knight versus Trick Williams, followed by Logan Paul, and then Cody Rhodes, and then Randy Orton, and then Braun Breaker. I don't think anyone is getting eliminated until everyone's exited their pods. Once everyone's in the match though, I think LA Knight is going to be the first to go, most likely being pinned by Braun Breaker. After that, I think Trick Williams is going to be pinned by Randy Orton, and then I think Logan Paul is going to be pinned by Cody Rhodes. Once we get down to the final 3 though, Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and Braun Breaker, out of nowhere, a masked man enters the ring and delivers a stomp to Braun Breaker, allowing Cody Rhodes to get the pin on him. However, after Braun Breaker gets eliminated, the masked man removes his hoodie, finally revealing himself to be none other than Seth Rollins. I know there's a lot of reports going around saying that it could be Logan Paul or Grayson Waller, but at the end of the day, I think those guys are just stand-ins for Seth Rollins. Once Seth Rollins comes back, I think he's gonna take credit for the Rumble. Then we get down to our final 2 though, Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. They're gonna have a bit of a mini match, but at the end of the day, Cody Rhodes is going to get the better of Randy Orton, winning the Elimination Chamber. His first one, might I add. And after that, Cody will challenge Drew at WrestleMania, but we all know Jacob Fatu is going to weasel his way into that match somehow. Moving on to the second match of the night, I feel like you need to do something with AJ Lee. Sure, you could have Becky Lynch enter the Elimination Chamber, and then right before she wins, AJ Lee returns, gets a huge pop, and causes Becky Lynch to get eliminated. To me though, if you're in Chicago, AJ Lee's backyard, I feel like you need to do something a bit more substantial. Because we all know she's gonna be there, so you might as well just do a match. So actually, I think we're gonna get a mixed tag. Becky Lynch and Natty versus AJ Lee and Maxine Dupree. Becky Lynch and Natty are not friends, especially after the Rumble, but I can absolutely see them begrudgingly team up to take down AJ and Maxine. And this is very similar to last year at Elimination Chamber, where it was Trish Stratus and Tiffany Stratton versus Nia Jax and Candice LeRae in Trish's backyard of Canada. Also, it's similar to Elimination Chamber 2023, where it was Edge and Beth Phoenix versus Rhea Ripley and Finn Balor, also in Edge's backyard of Canada. WWE has a history of these very light tag matches taking place at Elimination Chamber, and to me, I think this is the perfect mid-card match. You can set it up on an episode of Raw where it's Becky Lynch versus Natty Natty for the IC title. Maybe Maxine interferes and wonks the finish. Then the week after, Becky and Natty can team up to take down Maxine, and that's where AJ Lee returns, setting up this tag match. At the end of the day, I think AJ Lee and Maxine are definitely going to win, probably due to AJ making Becky tap out again, and that will officially set the stage for WrestleMania, where it will be AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch one-on-one for the IC Championship. Honestly, other than the 2 Elimination Chamber matches and CM Punk defending the world title, it's very tough figuring out what that 4th match is going to be, but looking at the past few years of Elimination Chamber, I feel like this is a really good option. Moving on. Now we get to the Women's Elimination Chamber. Now, full disclosure, I actually recorded this video before this past Friday on SmackDown, because for the longest time, I thought the Women's Elimination Chamber match this year wouldn't be for a world title shot, it would be for the tag team titles themselves. And I was really holding out hope that they were gonna do it, but then they announced the triple threat with Tiffany versus Chelsea versus Lash, and I basically had to throw out that whole video and re-record. So I'm gonna go ahead and predict what I think the Women's Chamber match is going to be, but just for fun, I'm gonna throw in what I thought the Women's Chamber match was going to be before this past Friday. Starting off with the actual Chamber match, on SmackDown, I think it's going to be Tiffany Stratton, Alexa Bliss, and Charlotte Flair. Tiffany's already qualified. I think Alexa is going to qualify next week when she beats Julia and Zelina Vega. And then the following week, we're probably going to see Charlotte Flair versus Nia Jax versus Kiana James. And I think Charlotte's going to win that too. For Raw, I think we're going to get Rhea Ripley, Raquel Rodriguez, and Io Sky. Now, I really don't want Rhea and Io in this match because they're probably going to have to eat pins. And I really don't want them to, but they're both such huge stars, I think they have to be in the match, even though they're probably not going to win. Starting off this match, I think it's going to be Io Sky versus Alexa Bliss, followed by Raquel Rodriguez, and then Tiffany Stratton, and then Charlotte Flair, and then Rhea Ripley. I don't think anyone gets eliminated until everyone's exited their pods. Once that happens though, I actually think Io Sky is the first to get eliminated, most likely being pinned by Raquel Rodriguez, who's really going to be our only heel in the match. After that, I think Rhea Ripley is going to pin Raquel Rodriguez, and then shockingly, Charlotte Flair is going to pin Alexa Bliss, because even though they're best friends, in the Elimination Chamber, it's everyone for themselves. Once we get to the final 3 of Charlotte, Tiffany, and Rhea, I can actually see Charlotte and Tiffany teaming up to take out Rhea. The 2 of them have some history from this past WrestleMania, and besides, we all know Rhea's not going to win this match. To be honest, I don't even want to see her in it because I don't want to see her eat a pin, but I think the best thing they could do to give Rhea a protected loss is have Charlotte and Tiffany team up, take out Rhea, and then Tiffany gets the pin. And then once we get down to the final 2, Tiffany versus Charlotte, I think Alexa Bliss returns to the chamber and attacks Charlotte Flair. Even though she's already out of the match, I think she has had enough of Charlotte Flair, and this is going to be the moment where their friendship officially ends. I think Alexa attacks Charlotte, Tiffany gets the pin. Tiffany's going to WrestleMania to challenge Jade Cargill. And then after this match, we can start setting up Charlotte versus Alexa, and then Rhea, Io, and the rest of the tag teams will be in their own match. Okay, but that's what I think is going to happen now. But just for fun, let's rewind to what I think WWE should have done. Here's how WWE should have booked the Women's Elimination Chamber. This match should not have been for a world title shot. It should have been for the women's tag titles. Rio versus Charlexa versus the Kabuki Warriors versus Bayley and Lyra versus Nia and Lash versus Julia and Kiana James. I think these are the 6 teams that enter the Elimination Chamber, and the rules are simple. Once one of your teammates is pinned or submitted, your team is out entirely. So obviously I think Julia and Kiana are the first to go, probably being pinned by Nia and Lash. Then I feel like the Kabuki Warriors are gonna go, probably being pinned by Rhea and Io Sky. Then I think Lyra and Bayley are going to get eliminated again by Nia and Lash. And then once we get to the final 3 teams, Rio, Charlexa, and Nia and Lash, I think this is where Alexa Bliss finally turns heel on Charlotte Flair. She can attack her and walk right out of the ring, allowing Nia and Lash to pin Charlotte 1, 2, 3. And this will set up the WrestleMania match between Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. And then once we get down to the final two, Rhea and Io versus Nia and Lash, I think this is where Nia and Lash defeat Rhea and Io, winning the women's tag team championships. So now going into WrestleMania, you have a heel team holding the women's tag titles, you have the end of Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss's friendship, and then also you free up Rhea Ripley and Io Sky to do something else. In my opinion, it's probably going to be a singles match between them. No title on the line, it's just two friends going at it, and it's Rhea Ripley trying to finally get a win over Io Sky. Those are some matches that I think we're going to see at WrestleMania, and I think all of them can be set up in this women's elimination chamber. Did I cook or did I cook? Now we get to the main event of the show, which is obviously going to be CM Punk versus Finn Balor for the World Heavyweight Championship. And man, wouldn't it shock the world if Finn Balor won here? He's not, absolutely no shot, but man, if he did, that would be insane. I think this is just going to be an easy, breezy win for CM Punk on the road to WrestleMania. And honestly, there's not much more to say than that. Hopefully though, this leads to either a character change or a push for Finn Balor. Is that likely to happen? No, but one can hope. But that's it. Those are my predictions for the 2026 Elimination Chamber. What do you think the match card will be? Comment below, let me know, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.